This program and its contents are designed for information and educational purposes only. This program does not render medical advice or professional services and is not intended to be a substitute for professional care. The information provided here should not be used for the purposes of diagnosing or treating a medical or psychiatric condition. If you have or suspect you may have a health problem, consult your healthcare provider.
Hi, welcome to Positive Momentum TV. I'm Diane Silva, and today I have Joe Schwartzfeger. You got it right, yep. Yes. As our guest. And we're going to talk about Joe's successes, his challenges, and maybe get some great insight. Joe's got a lot of great information, and he's a lot of fun to be around. So, very cool. Your little anecdotes, some of your voices that you do, you just keep the mood light no matter what we're doing. So I appreciate that a lot.
Well, I just like to laugh.
Well, that's good because we need more laughter. So that kind of falls in with our positive, passionate, and playful theme that we try to have. So welcome, and we'll turn this over to Joe and talk about, Joe, would you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, I don't know where to begin.
Well, start with whatever comes to mind.
I'm, as you know, a commercial rated pilot, do a lot in the instruction world, involved in aviation maintenance. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of musical work with the church I'm at, a lot of, different things involving school and training and teaching. I enjoy teaching, or at least instructing. I'm not much of a lecture person. I'm more of a, well, let's sit down and talk about stuff and see if we can't learn something.
Well, good. So with that, if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of segue just briefly, is the next show we have you on, I would love for you to talk about aviation and maybe give us some instruction on flying. If you'd be interested, that'd be great.
Sure.
Perfect. Okay. Well, sorry, back to you.
No worries.
Well, speaking of that, I heard that you were trying to teach your daughter how to fly the other day.
I don't know how much she retained. We took my grandparents were being moved to a assisted living facility. My grandfather's health has been declining a little bit. And he and my grandmother hadn't had a chance to meet Piper yet. Okay. We could not see doing a 10-hour in one day drive back and forth to get to introduce him, especially only being able to spend an hour there. So we talked to my parents, and they funded a rental so we could fly out and visit for a few hours. And on the way back, she got to sit on Mom's lap and fly the plane, and she was sitting there hanging on to everything, and she'd start leaning because she's not fully sitting up. She's only 8 months old. Okay. But she'd start leaning, and as the plane would start leaning because she's leaning, a big smile. Let her do that for a half hour, and she just had a great old time. Oh,
that's great. Getting her used to flying. She's going to have it in her blood and her name.
Oh.
Her name is actually
Piper,
which is to do with aircraft. You have one of your favorite planes, I'm assuming.
It's a good manufacturer.
Okay, good.
Great planes. She's already been on 2 commercial trips out to Ohio and does wonderful. I mean, she's a champ.
That's great. I saw that you said that she does better in the aircraft than she does in the car.
She doesn't like the car seat, and in the airplane you can get her out of the car seat, or on the commercial aircraft she's not in a car seat at all, just sitting on the lap with Mom. And then you get out of the plane and get in the car, and she's like, "Wait a minute, what are we doing here? I don't want to sit here. This seatbelt thing, no."
Yeah, well, sorry, Piper.
She wants to be up front and see what's going on.
Well, yeah, I can get that. I've got a grandchild who likes to sit in the middle and the back, so this way she can see. She doesn't want to sit behind anybody. So that's cool. So you 8-month-old daughter, and then parenting challenges and
quite a few.
And you're also a very hard worker. I know you've held down. We met actually through the airport when I was learning to fly. And as you said, you're an instructor. You also are a commercial pilot.
Commercial rated. Haven't done much with it because it's a lot of hours you have to build, a lot of time, and that's all put in place to make sure that before someone can hire you, you've got the appropriate amount of experience. It's just I guess a checks and a balance type thing.
Right, and that's something that most people don't understand is how much it takes to learn to fly and be able to fly, which we can touch on that segment that
Sure.
You're coming into. So please, when we have Joe back on, we're going to talk about learning to fly. We're going to talk about how to overcome some fears, or at least, even if you can't overcome the fears, you understand the dynamics behind and the science behind flying. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about other things. So it'll be a very informative show, maybe help any of us who have a little apprehension. So we'll visit that on our next show with Joe. And we're going to go back to Joe. Joe used to be in the military. And yeah. He does security. I mean, some of the stories I heard throughout talking with you, you talked about doing music at your church. You're a very busy person, very busy person. It's trying to track you down is like, where, instead of where's Waldo, where's Joe?
I can't just sit and do nothing.
I understand that. Some people have difficulty doing that. That's, I think, why we get along so well. We're very similar. So, currently you work at a hospital, I understand, maybe?
I work at a local hospital, a psychiatric-based one, and I do security there.
Okay.
It's a lot of focus on safety. I mean, my entire purpose there is to make sure that not only myself, staff are safe, but the patients are safe as well. Mm. And you get to meet a lot of interesting people, and even though I'm not part of the medical staff that's there focused on helping and treating and everything, just our interaction with my department can be a big help in helping a person come in, get what they need to do, and be able to move forward with their life. I mean, every little interaction counts.
Yeah, I can see where that would be the case. So it's good that it's not just the medical staff, because people in that situation need a lot of support. And it's changed the way people look at psychiatric care over the last couple decades. It's not a, oh my God, put them away. It's now let's get them help.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is that you come in, get introduced to the different programs, and work with therapists and work with clinical staff to find out what's going to work. And then when you leave our facility, you're not just okay, bye. It's full. This is what we're going to do going forward to build on the success that we're having, and there's quite a few people that come in, and the programs work great, and the continuing programs work great, and they never have to come back in inpatient. And then there's other people that are great for a while, and then they have a bump in the road and they have to come back. It's not a big deal. We're there to help.
And that's one thing I really appreciate about the programs like that, because like with even the Robin Williams situation, it's brought a new perspective. People, there's such a taboo and stigma attached to mental illness. Just like, I understand from my grandmother that back in the 20s and 30s, cancer was considered taboo. It was hidden away. Things have changed so much, and instead of hiding it away and denying, people are getting help, and you're not being shunned, which is good, so that's good. And I commend you again. You've always been in the helping situation, and I think that's great. Just great to work with. So would you mind telling us a little bit about your military career and what brought you to Omaha? Or why you're in Omaha, whatever.
Well, I was already here in Omaha. My dad was Air Force, and he retired from Offutt Air Force Base, so we were already pretty much here. I joined the Army National Guard out in Lincoln. Wasn't entirely sure exactly which direction I was going to go out of high school, and unfortunately, I had signed up to go into the Marine Corps, and I was in a motorcycle accident. And instead of going to basic training, I ended up going in for surgery.
Yeah, that's not pleasant.
No, but everything's fine and got everything taken care of. And later on, still had a desire to serve. And so I joined the National Guard because I had a friend that was already in that unit. And he's like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I'm like, okay. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Let's go.
Was it stripes? Is that what I'm hearing?
Not quite. Not quite. Well, maybe a little.
You didn't steal a big camper.
No.
Okay.
There were no RV thefts to my knowledge or recollection.
Okay, good. That's good to know.
Went in. It was a air cav aviation unit, helicopters, and I've always loved aviation. So of course I'm like, great, get to work with helicopters. This will be great. Became a turbine engine mechanic. Gosh, I actually loved the school. Was fabulous. Just working on the different engines that the Army has, because you're trained on all of the turbine engines, including the little maintenance ones that are used to come start the bigger aircraft. And then you go to your unit and you get a little bit more on-the-job training with the aircraft you're actually going to be working with. In my case, it was Cobras and Hueys and Blackhawks.
Ooh, nice.
And then later on, they added 58s, which are they're basically Bell 204s used for observation. Little four-seater.
Okay, that helps.
You see them a lot in police departments now.
Okay, gotcha.
Met a lot of wonderful and interesting people in the unit and had a great time. Ended up getting married during that period of time, and my wife was not from a military background, so it was kind of a culture shock when I was gone for a weekend or gone for the 2-week training periods.
Right.
And when we talked about deploying, as there was a talk of that a couple times, I saw her anxiety level go through the roof. And
Gotcha.
so eventually, at the end of the 6-month commitment, or excuse me, 6-year commitment.
Difference.
That's really fast. I made the decision that for our family, I should probably go ahead and get out. And
Okay.
let's see. A lot of the things I learned in the Army, I still carry with me. It's stuff that you can use on a daily basis.
Yeah, I can see that. My ex was military and my kids were military brats, so we've traveled around. And coming from a non-military background, it was such a difference, and the community within the community, and the support. But I also was in at the time when they said if they wanted you to have a family, they'd issued you one. So it's now the military spouses and families are being recognized too. Where back in the day it wasn't, and it wasn't that long ago. It was maybe only 15 years ago.
Yeah. Thankfully, the military's culture, just like our culture in everyday life, is changing and evolving, and hopefully it's always for the better.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say, because you never know until you look back at it going, oh, was this the wise move to make? And that's where a lot of us get stuck. It's like we've maybe had a few errors in our past where we're going, okay, that wasn't such a good judgment call, and how do I get myself out of this mess?
I'm sure we've all had oops.
Speaking of oopses, if you wouldn't mind, if you could bring up some challenges that you've had and how you've overcome them, or how those challenges turned you into the person you are. If you have any that you wouldn't mind sharing, I know we all have things, we just don't always want to share them. I've got quite a few. We keep that, I'm instead of a closet, I've got a storage unit.
Okay.
So.
climate controlled or no?
I figured I'm kind of, get rid of them one way or another. So whether they cook or they freeze, whatever, let's get rid of those skeletons. So.
I think probably my biggest, or at least one of the biggest challenges I deal with on almost a daily basis is I'm dyslexic.
Okay.
So reading is not something I can just do. I have to focus on it. And it ties directly in with my level of fatigue. So if I'm really tired, I'm not going to be able to see words on the page. I have to look at it as more of a picture.
Okay.
And decrypt it that way. And it's just the way my brain works.
Right.
And it's funny because when I was growing up, they thought I was nearsighted. And I have better than 20/20 vision still. And
Wow.
they had me with these glasses, and I was getting all these headaches. And then finally, well, maybe he's colorblind. And so I did a couple of those tests, and like, no, that's not it. We're not sure. Finally, an ophthalmologist in England, when we were stationed there, gave me a test that determined that I was dyslexic, and so we started working on that through different programs in the school system. And once I was out of school, I started looking at different things online here and there, just to be like, okay, what can I do to make it a little bit easier to function? Because to be honest, without Microsoft Word, I couldn't write you a letter or an email and have it be coherent.
Well, but you're in good company. I understand Whoopi Goldberg's another one who's got dyslexia, and it's again, we can go back to this mental illness or anything else kind of thing. It used to be looked at as, oh my God, just like, oh, you're left-handed, your right hand. It was not acceptable to be anything other than inside this box. And as society and we evolve, we're allowing and we're becoming ways to accommodate or help or facilitate or finding ways to accept us the way we are.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to change us into something that, oh my God, this is what society wants. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. So how would you say that has helped you become the person you are, if you could? If you can find a way to put that together. Because all our challenges do teach us who we are.
Yeah.
All of us.
Well, I know it's that's a difficult one to really put into words. I know it's affected the way I approach learning.
Okay.
A lot of learning nowadays is done by textbooks, and there's more and more stuff being done by video. And my parents always thought it was highly amusing that I could watch a movie and walk out of the theater quoting it and never have a problem with any lines that were connected to humor or a significant event in the film. But I could stare at a textbook for months and not be able to tell you a word from it.
Okay.
So it helped me develop a learning style that worked for me. And I think in a long sense now with teaching, it's helped me understand even more so that everyone learns differently. Okay. And you got to try different approaches and different aids. You got whiteboards and video and audio and hands-on stuff and just lectures, and different people pick up things different ways.
Right. And I like that approach, because it used to be, we're going to teach you this way, you're going to absorb it this way. And I understand, somebody had mentioned something that kind of gave me a better understanding of learning. When we're tested on stuff, we're not tested on our knowledge, we're tested on what we can remember.
Pretty much.
Because our knowledge is our memory. But if our memory is healthy, if we're not going to remember the way we needed to learn it. Or maybe we weren't interested enough to retain it.
There's a lot of factors that go into just how much you are going to remember. I'm trying to remember the numbers off of my studies, and I can't, but it's a pretty significant amount that after 2 weeks, people forget. I want to say it was around 80% of what you've learned. And of course, the more you practice something, the more it's going to become solidified in your memory. If it's something you just read in class, took the quiz, and we're done,
It's gone.
yeah.
Delete.
I mean, for me, I can't remember dates and times of stuff coming up because, well, we wrote it down. I don't have to remember it, and so I don't. I don't remember insignificant stuff from the days past because my brain will go, don't need to know that, done. And it just does it automatically, which is, I mean, the brain is just a marvelous computer. We don't even understand half of it. It just amazes me the things it can do.
Well, even if we did understand it, I think it would probably, we'd forget in a couple of weeks anyway. And I'm pretty much a believer with Einstein's theory. If I can look it up, why do I need to memorize it? My memory is pretty much not so good these days. It's like I could be doing something now, going, "What did I have for breakfast? Did I even eat? I don't know." Oh yeah, I did. I can tell. We'll come back to that one in a minute. But sorry. Stop it. Okay. So if you could go back and give yourself some advice at any specific time in your life, where maybe you were transitioning or something, and you could tell yourself a piece of advice that would make your life easier, better, more, or just accepting of yourself more, what would you be able to, what would you tell yourself? What would you go back and say, hey, Joe,
I think there's two things that I would definitely want hammered into my head with a sledgehammer in the past, reoccurring. First being go.
Go.
Just do it. Just go. Don't be afraid of failing. Don't be afraid of what other people think. Just start moving. So many times I put things off and delayed it, from this excuse to that excuse to, oh, what if it doesn't work? What if this happens? Just go and start going. Start moving in the direction you want to go. You're going to fail, and that's okay. It happens. It's one of the best ways to learn.
Yeah.
Make a mistake and go, well, that didn't work, let's try this. Keep that motivation up. And I think the second thing I would definitely want to hammer home is it's 95% attitude and 5% hard work.
Okay.
If you can maintain a positive attitude, if you can maintain a positive outlook, it doesn't matter what the challenge is. You can keep going and keep moving and find that breakthrough. If it's something you can get passionate in, it's something you love, don't put it off. Don't let things hold you back. Just push forward, and you'll be amazed when you turn around and go, I actually did all that?
Exactly. This has been wonderful, and I'm looking forward to actually discuss our next show when we talk about the flying and we talk about whatever comes up about flying, because I know there's others like me, and how we met was through my fear of flying. So I'm looking forward to discussing that and maybe helping educate other people who don't know things, and taking the mystery out of flying. And, pilots like you, you're a very competent pilot. I would fly in a plane with you anywhere. And one of the things I found is, after meeting you and Benji and, being around aircraft, yes, I'm still apprehensive and I still have some anxieties, but I've been able to learn what I need to know and know that, you guys want to go home to your families. You're going to do everything you can. So anyway, we'll talk about that. And I went off track, sorry. So if you had any parting words with, we have a couple minutes left, and if you would like to, impart any wisdom or, share anything we didn't discuss, or say hey to Piper and Mickey. And Hi Piper, hi Mickey.
I'm hoping Piper is taking her nap, because that's what she was trying to do when I was getting ready this morning.
Yeah, but this will be on YouTube. You can watch it anytime. Yeah, after the station airs, after KPAO airs it, we're going to be on YouTube. So
I just say,
Daddy.
Find some like-minded people. Find some people with the same mental disorder that you have. It's priceless. Look at the Three Stooges and all they did.
Oh, that's a good point. You are so I just love your wisdom, you know, and it usually comes across, like you said, the Three Stooges. So with that, we're going to kind of wrap up, and if you would kind of help us out by maybe doing either the count or Kermit, you know, hey, well, you know, whatever you'd like to do. It's up to you. I don't mean to put you on the spot, which I tend to do.
Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here. This has been an interview with Joe Schwertfeger by Diane Silva, and we hope you all have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Joe. And welcome to, again, welcome. If you need to contact us or would like to contact us or have any questions or concerns and you'd like to have some topics to bring up, you can reach us at inquiry@positivemomentum.net. Also, as I stated, we are going to be on YouTube, positivemomentumtv@gmail.com if you also have any questions. And we're going to have Joe come back and we're going to talk about flying. We're going to have other guests